live from Kansas City as we prepare for America's Game of the Week on Fox. It is a Super Bowl rematch. It is a crowd that is a little bit hostile to your old buddy Kevin Wildes. Because, Brou, maybe I have not supported the Chiefs with my whole heart 100% of the time alongside Chris Broussard. I am Kevin Wildes. Brou, welcome to Kansas City.
Let me say something, Wildes. Let me say something to the whole crowd. I don't like Kansas City. I love it! I love Kansas City! Yeah!
We are missing Kansas City's favorite son, who decided to make a grander entrance.
And the mayor of Kansas City.
Welcome, Mayor.
Well.
I love it.
It's a pleasure to have you. It's an honor to have you. Thank you again.
Hey, welcome to Kansas City, everybody. Welcome back, Kevin Wildes.
Thank you.
No longer excommunicated.
Oh, wow.
There is some history to that, though.
Yeah.
And Brou,
Great to
sorry,
see you,
your
man.
Ravens, man. I'm sorry about it. But welcome
They'll
to
be
the
back.
championship.
They'll be back. Yeah, and there is, you're right, some history, Mr. Mayor. It's weird calling you Mr. Mayor when you played high school basketball together. About Kevin Wildes, is he or is he not excommunicated? For people who are new, let's go ahead and take a listen. If you want to watch this week, the mayor of Kansas City excommunicated Kevin Wildes from Chiefs Kingdom. He then started just demanding other famous Chiefs fans excommunicate him. Well, let's just play it for you. Just play it, please. This is why the mayor of Kansas City had this to say to you.
Kevin Wildes, you have been excommunicated from Chiefs Kingdom.
If I don't hear it from Stone Street, it's not official.
Hello, Kevin Wildes.
Wait, what?
You've been excommunicated from Chiefs Kingdom.
Wow.
If I don't hear it from Tech 9, not official.
Kevin Wildes, you've been excommunicated from the Red Kingdom, Tech 9.
If I don't hear it from Paul Rudd.
Hey, Kevin Wildes. You're excommunicated from Chiefs Kingdom. Effective immediately.
Beloved of Kansas City. Everybody knows that.
Oh, really? Yeah, does Vinny Pasquantino, the Pasquatch, know that?
Kevin Wildes, you are no longer beloved in Kansas City.
Well, that's interesting.
What's the population in Kansas City? One?
Royals
attendance.
Wow.
I'm beloved in Kansas
Quite
City.
the journey.
Yes.
It is an amazing journey. But to the crowd, we love Kevin, don't we? Because he,
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So Kevin's going to do right and pick the Chiefs this week, right? Well, Kevin, if you do right, I'm ready to declare it if you pick the Chiefs. Kevin Wildes Day in Kansas City.
Wow.
You're going to get a holiday
Wow.
if you do your job. So it's up to you, but Kevin, do right by Chiefs Kingdom so you can be part of Kansas City.
Well, thank you, Mayor. As you know, I'm beloved in Kansas City, so it's great to see everybody here.
Kevin Wildes Day,
Kevin
Brou.
Wildes Day. It's very kind.
It is Kevin Wildes Day. Y'all have a great show. Kevin, do right. Brou, I'm already sorry. The Ravens ain't doing it this year.
Picks in 1 hour. 1 hour we'll have our picks, maybe 2 hours.
And Nick, we will see you for the Super Bowl celebration.
Absolutely.
Wow. The show is going to Philadelphia. Amazing. Mayor, great. Thank you, Mayor, as always. We're starting the show. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
to see you. We are starting with America's Game of the Week, Sunday at 4 on Fox. Eagles favored by 1.5 points Their last matchup was Eagles by 18, although it did get closer once Sirianni was covered in confetti and Gatorade. Chris Jones was asked about the Super Bowl rematch, and he said that result still stings. Take a listen.
I think the energy in the building is great. Everybody is excited to be back in Arrowhead, be back at home. The energy is good, man. The energy is good. Everybody has a positive mind frame. Philadelphia Eagles come in the town. We still have a bad taste in our mouth from the Super Bowl, so everyone is in a good space.
I'm glad Chris is being honest. There is a bad taste in the Chiefs' mouth, because not just because they lost the Super Bowl, but as Wildes has made the point again and again and again, even when we were talking about basketball at times, it would seem a reminder that they were down 34-0.
Yes.
That they were dominated in that Super Bowl. And I think it is noteworthy that they have not played in front of these fans since they made the Super Bowl. The last time the Chiefs played in Arrowhead, they were on the doorstep of becoming the greatest team in NFL history. Now, a lot's changed since then. 2 whole games have been played, and now, of course, they are this wounded, once-were juggernaut. But I think the crowd this weekend is worth 3 or 4 points by itself. The last time they were in a game in that stadium was the AFC Championship game where the crowd delivered, and I think they're going to do it again this weekend.
Look, I love this crowd. They're wild here. I can imagine what they're going to be like in Arrowhead on Sunday, but here's the problem, Nick.
Yeah.
They don't just need 3 or 4 points.
Well, no.
They need like 34 points. All right, can you give them 34 points? I got to keep it real, Kansas City. And so, look, I will say this about Chris Jones and his comments. I would expect nothing less from him or any of the Chiefs, because even as the media is starting to question the Chiefs and are they still great and all that, not in that locker room they're not being questioning themselves. I don't care how many games they lose. They have been on not losing streaks, but had, down points of the season before.
They've been doubted
before.
Yes.
They have won so many championships, overcome so much adversity. They've seen it all that they believe. So I like that from Chris Jones. He obviously, and everybody in that locker room has championship medal. So that's what you expect to hear from him. But they're going to need the crowd and then everybody to play great to overcome this Eagles team.
We kicked around doing a must-win segment.
Yeah.
Brou didn't like it because he was like, are we doing must-win or are we doing actual must-win? So you vetoed the segment. That being said, 30 teams started 0-2 over the previous 4 seasons. 5 made the playoffs, 3 last year. Are you at all nervous about the specter of starting 0-2 and having Mahomes lose 3 games for the first time in his career?
No, so listen, I want to make this very clear. The Eagles are a very good team that last year was a great team. And we'll see if they're a great team this year. I don't yet know that. But obviously, the Eagles can win on Sunday. I don't think they will. I will spoil my pick. I'll be picking the Chiefs. I don't know about these guys. And
big reveal coming up.
I think 0-2 especially, I know you're really asking it from a more of an emotional than logical perspective.
A little bit of both.
But I don't think being 0-2 when there are reasons to believe the team is going to be better as the year goes on, not just people coming back, but leaning on, a remade offensive line with a rookie left tackle, those types of leaning on some young defensive players to get better. But I want to, if I may, I'm not trying to ignore your question,
no, it's okay.
to go back to Chris, because I know there was a lot of discussion, some of which from, my dear poker buddy and our colleague, Rob Gronkowski, about that moment between Chris and Drue Tranquill being a bad thing. And not only do I disagree with Gronk, I think it's the opposite. I think the fact that a team that has been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, that has won 2 of the last 3, cares that much about a week 1 game when they know it's a long season is better than the opposite, which is, it'll be fine. We're the Chiefs. We're going to be there. And so I liked the fact, And I also like the fact that this is a team that a player like Drue Tranquill, who's a good player, feels a license to yell at a player like Chris Jones, who's a future first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, I actually like that, and I don't think they're going to come apart in any way.
Not at all. Look, despite the specter of being 0-2 looming over this game, if I'm the Chiefs, I love being in this situation because you're coming off a bad loss in the opening game against the Chargers. What better way to wipe that from your memory and let everybody know that you're still here than beating the defending Super Bowl champs that beat you a few months ago?
All right.
So they got a great opportunity here.
All right, this will be the 5th matchup between Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Regular season is split 2-2. Super Bowls are split 1-1. Regular season teams are split. Both teams are 40-12 over the last 4 years. Here's the career head-to-head, how the numbers look. I want to point your attention to 320 total yards for Jalen Hurts. Consistently lights up the Chiefs' defense, which is good, but Jalen seems to have an answer. Does Mahomes finally have a rival in Jalen Hurts, Brou?
No question. Jalen Hurts is now the rival of Patrick Mahomes. Now, he's not as good as Mahomes individually, but the fact that he's not only, he's beaten him in the last 2 games they played in, one of them the Super Bowl, and then played him tough in the other Super Bowl. So they are meeting every criteria for a rivalry in that they've met in the biggest games, the championship moments. One is 1-1, the other has 1-1. And Hurts, while not as good individually as Mahomes, has risen to the occasion and outplayed him in some of these games. So he is absolutely, look, Joe Burrow was viewed as a rival just for beating Mahomes in a AFC championship game. How much more should Hurts be considered a rival for beating him in the Super Bowl?
All right, well, so here's the thing. And the Super Bowl versus conference championship game, to me, is circumstantial in this regard. If you're in Mahomes' conference, you can't ever beat him in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, Burrow, they played as far as they possibly can play. So I'm going to use an example that Wilds won't like, Brou might, which is Joe Flacco was never Tom Brady's rival. Flacco beat him in their first...
Joe Flacco?
Well, hold on. Wilds, hold on. He also had an unbelievable playoff run with the Super Bowl MVP where he had a 120 passer rating in the playoffs, 11 touchdowns, 0 picks, and blew out Brady in the AFC Championship game a couple years after he had blown out Brady in a divisional round game. Like, there were people did not look at Flacco as Brady's caliber, of course, and I don't think people look at Hurts as Mahomes' caliber, and they were never rivals despite playing on the biggest stage they could play on, given the fact that they were in the same conference. Go ahead, Brou.
Well, here's my answer to that, and even if you want to bring up Eli Manning, which I know you did the other day, neither Eli Manning nor Joe Flacco is as good as Jalen Hurts. Hurts, remember, was second in the MVP voting a few years ago.
No, I understand
So neither Flacco nor Eli ever hit that. Hurts has won 70% of his regular season games. Eli was at 50% exactly, so they weren't on the level of Hurts. That's how I would answer that.
No, listen, I think he's a better player than both those guys. I also think Flacco, off that playoff run, became the highest paid player in the league. It was a perfect playoff run. But I think here's my real answer. And then I'm going to show you back-to-back, I think 9 full screens. He does not, Patrick Mahomes has one rival. It is Tom Brady. There's there is no, you're right, Brou. People tried to make it Burrow, and people tried to make it Lamar, and people have tried to make it Josh, and now it's Jalen Hurts' turn. But, and I understand Jalen, they won the Super Bowl, and Jalen was great. Well, Joe Burrow beat him. Joe Burrow beat him in the conference championship game. Well, they can't play.
But I get that. But the Super Bowl is still bigger than the conference.
No, that's fair. But so here is, for someone to have, your point about Hurts versus those guys is, Hurts is just better than those guys, right? That he's just better than Eli, he's just better than Flacco.
That and also the time when Eli and Flacco were beating Brady, no one was looking for a Tom Brady rival because Brady had won his championships earlier, 3 of them, but he wasn't considered like a great individual player at that point. And he had gone through a stretch where he was not winning Super Bowls.
Just to be clear, when Flacco beat him, that was after the undefeated season. That was after Brady
No, I
was
get
a
all that,
two-time
but
MVP.
he had gone a while without winning a
course.
Super Bowl.
But
if Mahomes goes the next 6 years without winning a Super Bowl, we won't be like, well, who's his rival? It'll just you won't go there.
So the point that the reason I asked it was not actually to get more into Flacco and Eli, because Wilds will leave even though we're live in
on the
Kansas
verge.
City. I know he hates that.
Let's talk about Joe Flacco.
It's because just like you're saying Hurts is just better than those players, Mahomes is just better than these guys. And we can go one by one. So let me just do it, though, quickly.
Let's see it.
Here's the head-to-head. Wilds is a wins guy. That's fine. Mahomes has 53 more with only 5 more losses. The playoff record, the MVPs, all of that. And then we can do this for all the other guys who they have said, is that his rival? No, Mahomes has every single, you can roll through them, Dust, person beat in every single category, and or at least tied with Lamar and MVPs. The Burrow one, who we were told is supposed to be his rival, is, to me, the most interesting point there is Burrow somehow, for the quarterback wins, folks, has 4 more losses and 80 fewer wins. But I'm not a quarterback wins guy, Brou. I am a numbers guy. I'm a quarterback wins piece of it, fine. The stats are, if we put those 5 guys, Wild's top 5, that he thinks should be the top 5. A passer rating, by the way, Mahomes is number 1 of them all. We don't have the graphic. Total touchdowns, Mahomes is number 1 by a mile. Burrow and Hurts, by the way, argument for Hurts, they played the same number of games, same number of touchdowns. Winning percentage, if you want to go to that mark, Mahomes is number 1, and then they're fighting for the other spots. Dust, you can roll whatever the next one is. I think it's yards per game. Mahomes is number 1. Okay, that's not mine, but that's fine.
Love it.
That's yours.
Love it.
And the point that I was trying to make is passer rating, touchdown, yards per game, record, all of it. If he's won in everything and he has a better resume than everyone, then can we accept he doesn't actually have a rival? That these guys are, he's the only player in the league that it is a benefit to your resume for playing great in a loss. Josh Allen, part of his thing is the 13 seconds game. Jalen Hurts, part of his thing is the Super Bowl. There's no other guy who's measured like that. So we want there to be a rival.
He's got to win.
We're not there yet.
He's got to win on Sunday then.
So if he
Hurts can't win 3 consecutive games against Patrick Mahomes to be like, not a rival. And Jalen Hurts might be like, yeah, you're probably right.
Hold on, but KW, you keep saying 3 consecutive games. Does it not matter at all to you that in between, Hurts has won 2 in a row. In between the first and the second win for Hurts was a stretch where his team fell apart. They lost their first playoff game and he was bad. And Mahomes won Super Bowl MVP. We're still going there?
No, but if it's just, I think that's valid, but they still got to the playoffs. So it was a down year for him. He just got to the playoffs. He didn't get to the Super Bowl.
But, Nick, no one is – I'm not saying that if Hurts wins on Sunday, he's better than Mahomes. I'm not going there. I think they're at different levels individually. But if he consistently beats him, particularly in big games, particularly in Kansas City, then I do think for a guy that, you're right, hasn't had a rival besides Tom Brady, does finally have a rival. Because if they were to meet in the Super Bowl, if Hurts beats him Sunday and they meet in the Super Bowl, a big part of the discussion will be Jalen Hurts, does he have Mahomes' number?
I guess here is where I'll meet you halfway. I think the Eagles are the Chiefs' rival. I do think that. I think that's fair. I think that the Chiefs have been to 3 of the last 3 Super Bowls. The Eagles have been to 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. The winning percentages, they're the tops in the league. Like you said, their down year for Philadelphia is still making the playoffs. Like, I will grant you that the Chiefs don't have, at this point, an AFC rival, but they do have a rival in Philadelphia from a team perspective. I think from an individual perspective, Patrick Mahomes' rivals are ghosts and retired. Like, that is who he's chasing.
All right, we're gonna talk
By the way, if we're scoring the arguments, because this is competitive sports, as you know, by crowd reaction.
I know,
Guys,
my man over here.
Andy Reid's here.
Oh, Andy Reid's here. All right, let's focus a little bit on the running game. Saquon had a quiet week 1 as the Cowboys stacked the box in 12 of his 18 carries. Also had a moderately quiet Super Bowl. Both the Chiefs and the Cowboys challenging Jalen Hurts to beat them, to which he said, Okay, we'll do. Here's Saquon.
That opens up a lot of stuff, and we still have a threat at quarterback when he can throw the ball and run the ball too. And that's the beauty about playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. We have so much talent, and you take away one thing, we have opportunity to hurt you in another. But that's just a mindset. Whatever it takes to win football games, whether they stack the box or they don't. But if you don't stack the box, we'll make you pay for it.
Here's Saquon's last 2 games, Brou. 25 rushes, 18 rushes, has yet to break 60 yards. He had 60 exactly. Yards per rush down. He did have the rushing touchdown. But do you expect a huge game from Saquon on Sunday?
Saquon is absolutely right. It depends on what poison the Chiefs pick. Do they pick the poison of, you know what, we're going to stop Saquon and make Jalen Hurts beat us because we believe, he's not as good at his position as Saquon is at his, then they will stop Saquon like they did in the Super Bowl and run the risk of Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and these others getting going. If they decide, you know what, we tried that and we lost badly the last time we played.
It was ugly.
Let's stop the passing game and see what we can do with Saquon Barkley. Then he will make them pay. He is a tremendous running back, and if you don't stack the box and make it a priority to stop him, he will punish you. I think, Nick, look, if I'm choosing between making Saquon or Jalen Hurts beat me,
I'm making
Jalen Hurts beat me. So I think they'll stack the box and stop him, but the question is, will Jalen make him pay?
I mean, you say it hasn't worked yet. You are correct, but your point that this team has won 17 in a row, and when Saquon was en route to 2,000 yards, that approach didn't work for teams either. The Eagles were winning games. It is, if people, and again, I've only done this once, and I don't recommend it, but if you go and rewatch the Super Bowl, it's not fun. I am actually fine with the Chiefs' defensive performance. I know it sounds crazy because, just let me explain, because they allowed 40 points. Well, 7's a pick 6. Another 7 was a turnover right in the red zone. And the offense had so little production that, because we look at it as Saquon didn't, have a monster game. Did Hurts threw for what, 260? 220. So I think the Super Bowl was so dramatically about the Eagles offense dominating Eagles defense dominating the Chiefs offense that I will take my chances with if we can hold Saquon Barkley to one of his least productive games, as an Eagle, as they did in the Super Bowl. Let's see what the Eagles offense looks like. I think that is fair. And this is all a part of the reasoning that evaluating Jalen Hurts as an individual can be tricky because Saquon's not trying to, he's not taking a shot at all. But the implication of what he's saying is teams know that when you play our team, I'm the guy you got a game plan for. And so you have to stack the box. You have to focus on me. And I actually think that is smart. I do think that is what teams should do. I think it's what Dallas did. Now, Dallas, again, before those weather delay, Philadelphia moved the ball at will. You were right. It is a pick your poison situation. But I am certain that if you give Saquon Barkley good looks with that offensive line, if you have light boxes with that Eagles offensive line, he's going to have a great game. I'm not certain that if you dare Jalen Hurts to beat you, he's going to beat you. He's proven he can, but it's not a guarantee the way I feel like it is for Saquon. So I think the Chiefs defense, oddly, is going to have a very similar game plan to the Super Bowl, and they just hope the offense provides some help and some resistance. I think that's what it's going to be.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think that's unwise.
What do you think? Then what do you think they should do?
I think you should try to stop Jalen Hurts.
But what does that mean? Really? So you think they should? I'm just curious. That's the poison they should pick. I am with Nick on that.
I don't know. I think that's
stopping Saquon.
That's what makes him so good. The Cowboys tried to stop Saquon, did a good job. They also shut down the wide receivers, but Jalen Hurts still won the game. That's the challenge.
Well, Hurts won it with his legs.
Yes, that counts. That's part of him.
All right.
Part of his body.
Look, you know what? It's not looking like Kevin Wild's day so far.
I'm telling you. And
I owe you honesty.
I got to say one other thing. Fellas, You guys step up close to the stage. You know who I'm talking to. Look at what you've done to me, Kevin Wilds.
What did I do?
Toss it. Throw it. You throw it. Let's go.
I'm with that.
This guy.
I'm with that.
That guy.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
This guy brought fresh socks.
Thank goodness.
Because Kevin Wilds lied to America first and said, I take my socks off on a plane.
Well, now you have new ones.
And then retracted his lie and said, I only take my shoes off, but I have dirty socks.
Well, now they're
today, you see the
Those
socks
are
today,
nice.
though?
Oh,
Chief
okay.
socks.
Those are nice.
That's right, buddy. That's right. We got
Greg
right.
Jennings joins us to talk about Packers Commanders. That's First Things First, live from the Power and Light District in Kansas City. Andy Reid is here. He really should be game planning. I don't know if he has priorities in the right spot, bro.
Sweat moves you forward. Degree Antiperspirant is here to make sure it never holds you back. Clocking in, sweat. Lunch meeting, sweat. Biking home, sweat. Degree Advanced is for the hustlers who put in the sweat. The world's #1 antiperspirant with up to 72-hour sweat and odor protection. Degree, here for sweat. Try it today.
Live from the Power and Light District in sunny Kansas City. Nick Wright is down a considerable amount of money because he said if you brought a sign, he would buy you a beer. Thinking that the beers were about $4, but you're handing out 20s now?
I did a poor job of bringing small bills. I brought 1,000 in 20s and then more than that in hundreds.
That's a lot of our...
We're almost out of 20s, KW.
Oh, my goodness. All right, joining us now in a return to Kansas City, if you don't count his daughter's volleyball tournaments, Greg Jennings is here.
Yeah!
Well, slow down. We also have a Greg Jennings highlight.
Oh, my.
Whose last time in a uniform here resulted in this 60-yard touchdown in Arrowhead from Brett Favre. Packers over Chiefs.
I gotta do what I gotta do.
22.
Well, that was a game winner. Down 6.
God, I hear all the boos, but you know what it is. I put the team on my back, though. That's what I do.
All right, Greg, we're going to talk about your former team and their win over the Commanders last night. Commanders drew within 7, but then Jordan Love put his foot on the gas to put the game out of reach. Packers improved to 2-0, 9-point victory. Mike and the Packers defense, huge fans of the show. You hear him after the game?
Yeah.
Defense wins championship, trademark. Take a listen.
What I've been telling everyone, defense wins championships. J Love, I think, you give us 20 points, we should be able to win that game. It's all about getting stops and getting the ball back into the offense. As y'all seen against Baltimore or Buffalo, you got to have a quarterback damn near have a perfect game, but still lose because guess what? The defense gave up, 40 points? So defense won championship. They want to, I think the fans like points and they like to see the big plays, but when you play great defense, it's just so beautiful to see.
He's so locked in. Brou, what did the Packers prove with their win last night?
Nothing to me.
Oh,
because a few weeks ago, I told America that these boys are going to the Super Bowl. And some people didn't even pick them to make the playoffs, all right? Some people didn't believe they were even legitimate Super Bowl contenders, and that's what they proved last night. 2-0, 2 runaway victories over 2 Super Bowl contenders, we believe, the Lions and the Commanders. And what don't they do well? You got a very good quarterback who is getting better. He's right now, J-Lo's passer rating in the first 2 weeks, 120. 4 touchdowns, no picks. They can run the football with one of the best running backs in the league, Josh Jacobs. They have a plethora of wide receivers. Heck, Jayden Reed, maybe their best receiver, got hurt. The rookie hasn't really gotten his footing yet, Matthew Golden. And now you got a tight end who's getting busy too. Defensively, Micah Parsons has changed everything.
Everything.
The defense was already very good, but now him with the pass rush has made the defensive backs better. And so they don't have to cover for as long, but for how long they have to cover, they are breaking up passes. So the Green Bay Packers are for real.
If I may real quick.
Yep.
Because KW, you noticed that too, right?
What?
Brou reminding America correctly
Absolutely, I'm reminding
that he
you.
had the Packers. He had the courage to pick the Packers
Yes.
to win the NFC.
Yeah.
If only there was someone on stage who could one-up that, who had picked the Packers to win the whole thing.
I mean, that was cute.
That was cute.
That was cute. But I got them winning the Super Bowl. And the reason why is because of what we've seen these first 2 weeks. Like they reinforced what we saw and what if you had any question about them is being fluky or that was just the Micah emergence and that was just electricity because of the trade and all the things and all the hype. No, Jeff Hafley has this defense locked, loaded, and you mentioned their cornerbacks. Keyshawn Nixon and the guys, Valentine and all the other guys, they have a level of confidence now that they know that they didn't come into the season with. And only players like Micah, and there's not many, can pump that into your locker room without even stepping on the field. You put him on the field and you understand that I don't have to cover as long. I already have confidence in my own ability, but now I don't have to cover as long. Oh, we're definitely going to be special because I'm going to be able to make plays. And Jordan Love, he has one job. And I think he's going to
turn the ball over.
Don't turn the ball over.
Correct. And listen, Jordan Love now becomes, to me, the most interesting player in the league.
Yeah.
Because that team, 2 through 53, can win a Super Bowl. And so they showed an interesting stat during the broadcast about he has now over 200 consecutive regular season pass attempts without throwing a pick. The fly in that ointment is in the playoff game he threw 3. You know what I mean? And so not a fly in the ointment, but the kind of the added piece to it. Because adding Micah Parsons, and I want to talk for a minute about Micah Parsons. The all of a sudden much maligned, how good is he in big games? Look at his stats. Actually, the run game, he hurts you, Micah Parsons. Because Micah, we're going to show you 3 plays last night that he got 0 stats for. No tackles, no sacks. He caused all of them. First one, now Jayden makes a great play, but if we show that again, Dust, Micah okay, we'll show it later. Micah destroys a triple team. They put 3 guys on him. The next one, pressure, and Jayden gets lit up by a teammate. The next one, on a 4th down, again, Micah, quick pressure, wrecks the play. And I don't know if we can show that first one again, Dust. He's triple teamed in the first quarter or second quarter. It doesn't matter. He is, and I think media ombudsman moment, KW.
Yeah.
I appreciated what the broadcast did in highlighting, not just because he's a Chiefs legend, but the late great Derek Thomas. Because when Micah came into the league and people were saying, reminds you of Lawrence Taylor. If you guys remember, I said first you have to become Von Miller, then you can try to become Derek Thomas, right, and then you can get to the Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. He is, to me, on the Derek Thomas tier. The wreck the game as a pass rusher, even in plays that he gets no numbers because of how much attention you have to give him and how much he makes everyone else's job easier. So that plus Hafley, if Jordan Love plays clean football, that's the best team in the NFC.
Brou, can I show you a tweet that I think reiterates that, but I want your take on? Abdul Carter, obviously Penn State alum, along with Micah. Rushers are the new QBs. We impact the game in winning just as much. Micah proved it last night. I don't think he's trying to be hyperbolic there. Not quite QBs, but I think, the salary is starting to come in line with your effect on the game. What did you think of Abdul Carter's tweet?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't put him on the level of the quarterbacks, but he is right. I mean, Nick showed the videos where Micah completely affected those plays, whether you get to the guy or not. And the fact that they had to double and triple team him, of course, opens everything up for Rashawn Gary and the other guys on the defensive side. So Micah's huge. And to Nick's point, because Nick and I have laughed about this, all of us, I never heard anyone question Micah against the run before he was traded. All right, and last night, the Washington Commanders, who ran for 220 some odd yards the week before against a defense we expect to be good in the New York Giants, had 51 yards rushing last night.
Yep.
And the week before that, Detroit, which has a strong running game, had 46. They have not even given up 100 yards total on the ground in 2 games against playoff teams.
And Brou,
he's not hurting the run.
Brou, I know you don't follow Wilds on Twitter, but you should consider it. He had a good tweet last night that I want to add to. The sneaky winner of last night was the Lions, and the big-time loser was the Giants. Because the Giants got absolutely...
You went a step further.
Right.
Yes.
The Giants got embarrassed by Washington, who then got embarrassed by Green Bay. And the Lions, it's like, hey, maybe this is what Green Bay's doing to teams right now.
Friend of the show, Peter Schrager, writes, Detroit and Washington both averaged 30 points a year ago, combined for 31 points in 2 weeks.
Total,
Tough. All right, on the Commander side, Jayden threw for 200, only had 17 rushing yards because it doesn't look like anyone can run on the Packers. Here's Jayden postgame.
There's nothing to dwell about it. You know, it's early in the season. I wouldn't expect anybody in this locker room to hit a panic button. We faced a really good team, and we came up short.
Should Jayden be more concerned?
I don't know that he should be concerned. Listen, if there is such a thing as like a schedule loss in the NFL, I think the first Thursday night game on the road is a really tough spot. And so in that regard, I'm not surprised Washington lost. Where they should be concerned, Greg, is like I said, maybe the Giants are just really, really bad, and the Washington improved defense isn't quite as improved. But more importantly is they suffered real injuries yesterday. Dietrich Wise appears to be done for the season. That was a big addition for them on the defensive front. Austin Eckler sadly appears to be done for the season and maybe longer. Like those aren't any of their 5 most important players, but they're both in their top 15. Like those are both guys that they were counting on contributions for. They traded away Brian Robinson, and you know what I mean? Because they love Bill Krosky-Merritt, and they had Eckler. So I just think it was a damaging game from the injuries front, and the defense was going to be a question all year.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. Like, we found out a lot about their secondary. Number one being Marshawn Lattimore. Is he going to have any glimpse of being the player we saw in New Orleans?
Man.
I don't think so. But to Jayden's perspective, and when we look at Jayden, like, Jeff Hafley needs to get credit, and he's going to get credit, but the Packers switched it completely up. Against Detroit, they had 3 linebackers. They went base defense most of the game. Because you have a guy like Jayden Daniels, you go nickel. That's adding another corner. That's somebody that can then help with contain of a guy like Jayden Daniels in the run game and as well as covering the passing game. So he's going to see different looks every single week from week to week because teams respect him. They know who he is. So it's going to be a challenge. I'm not concerned. He ran up against a really good defense.
Commanders host the Raiders next Sunday. Coming up next, live from the Power and Light District in Kansas City, A.J. Brown. Big bounce-back game. We'll find out. Oh, congratulations. 16 years married. What a way to spend your anniversary.
That's right.
Or first things first, live from Kansas City after the break.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
They can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
A.J. Brown, week 1 against the Cowboys, quiet game, 1 catch, 8 yards. Sirianni called him mentally tough for staying in the game. Here was A.J. with Jordan Schultz.
I try to do a really good job of staying locked in and staying ready. I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet. Had zero separation and
all that
decoy, all that. And which is crazy because none of those things were true. I'm not hurt and I wasn't a decoy. Just kind of how the game went. So I just know I'm excited for week 2.
A.J. Brown, 1 target, 1 reception, 8 yards. Are you expecting a huge game from A.J. Brown, Greg?
I am. I'm expecting a huge game from not only A.J. Brown, but just the overall passing game of the Philadelphia Eagles. because if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you have to stop the run. But I've been in that situation that A.J. Brown was in last week where you didn't really get targeted, didn't have many opportunities, and you have to mentally stay in the game. And what he's saying in that bit is, regardless of if the ball is coming my way, I still have to run my routes. I still have to be effective because it's going to impact what the others can or can't do. However, I watched every route that A.J. Brown ran in this game. And I'll give him credit because he was mentally locked in. But as the game goes on, it is so challenging when you are not involved and you know the caliber player that you are and the value you bring to an offense to run those routes with the intention and the idea that I'm getting the ball. And so as the game went on, you kind of saw the energy level, not necessarily the separation, but the energy of like, man, am I going to ever get an opportunity? And that wears on you as the game goes on. If that happens again this week, it might be ugly week 3.
Okay, let me talk to the other wide receiver on the panel. Greg, thank you for your input. Brou, were you ever shut out in a game in high school? How do you feel?
Greg is absolutely right. Back in the day in high school, it was tough. When we just ran the ball, wasn't looking for me, which was rare, but still. No, I agree with Greg on that. I think A.J. will have a big game because I do think the Chiefs are going to prioritize stopping Saquon in the run. And on top of that, look, I don't think the Eagles will do this instead of trying to win, but they are going to look to get A.J. going. Nick Sirianni's smart enough where he's like, we're going to try to get A.J. going early, target him early, and as the game goes on. So I do expect him to have I don't know if I'd say huge, but I think he and Devontae Smith will be better as far as they were than they were in week 1.
Did you hear this breaking news? What? Dusty just told me Dallas Goedert out for the game.
Oh, interesting. And
good news for the Chiefs.
And Xavier Worthy officially ruled as doubtful. But again, fake news hat. The hat is fake. The news is real. As first reported by Nick Wright on Tuesday, Xavier Worthy is not playing on Sunday.
Do you hope you're wrong?
I mean, sure, but I'm not. Yes, I would love for there to be a miraculous recovery, but he's not going to play Sunday. I want to ask, if I may, Greg, a question because here's the part of it that I don't get. So I agree with AJ and with you. It's not like he was blanketed. Like, he was open at times. This wasn't a game where it's like, well, why would we not just run Saquon? He's killing, you know what I mean? Saquon was stymied to a degree. The Eagles, the reason we said Jalen had an excellent game was because of what he did when he scrambled.
Yes.
But the scrambles weren't because of like a quick pressure. It was he had 3 or 4 seconds, didn't find anyone, and then ran. So usually a quarterback's doing that because nobody can get open. But AJ was open some of it. They wanted to be able to move the ball better, certainly after the delay, than they did. So why didn't A.J. Brown get the ball more? Was it just that Jalen wasn't seeing him? Was it he wasn't looking to him? Because that's the part of it that, you understand what I'm saying, that is unique. Like, Jalen made it happen with his legs as a second option, but it seems like A.J.'s like, I wasn't a decoy, I wasn't hurt, he's basically saying, I was open, and the Eagles were struggling moving the ball, so why weren't they giving him opportunities?
So from Jalen's perspective, he's trying to get him the ball if he's in the progression right away. But what I saw Jalen Hurts doing in that game last week was when he saw lanes that opened up, he took them
immediately,
which lets me know he's the healthiest we've seen him in a long time.
Yes.
And so if he's doing that, yes, your opportunities are going to lessen. It's paramount. Because if the Eagles are expected to make a deep run, which I believe we all believe they can, and they have the personnel to do that, A.J. Brown has to stay locked in from start to finish from week 1 to week 17, week 18.
I co-sign that.
Thank you, Brou. Zach Berman at The Athletic brought this up, Greg. He talked about Devontae Smith had a similar game in 2022. First game of the year, he had 4 targets, no catches. Came back with 7 for 7 for 80 yards. In the following week, 8 for 12 for almost 170. Do you expect him just feeding him like first quarter, let's get A.J. Brown involved right away?
See, it's different for Devontae Smith, though, because A.J. is the #1 priority for defenses in terms of the Eagles' passing game. So when you look at Devontae Smith, it's like he's going to get the second corner. He's going to get the open opportunities. A.J. Brown, I think it's paramount that they get him going early so that he can know, okay, I got a couple touches early. I'm going to be involved in the offensive game plan, and I'll stay locked in. I do think, to Brou's point, as a
Go ahead and say
receiver,
it. Go ahead and say it.
you do want to get A.J. the ball early.
And I want to add just a prediction. I think number one receivers are going to carve up the Cowboys this year.
Okay.
Like, I think Malik Neighbors, even with Russ playing, is going to have a big game. I think the Cowboys are going to have trouble because they don't have a pass rush right now, a significant one. And Trayvon Diggs is coming off the injury. Obviously, now Bland is out. That didn't apply to the Eagles game. I think it is, a little ominous that A.J. Brown didn't have a big game against that defense.
Can I have
that's the only
one other thing? Hold on, Dusty, right before we go. This does also illustrate how high of a hill Mahomes has to climb to win this game. We're talking about on the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts, can he get the ball to his two dynamic wide receivers where Mahomes knows those guys are going goose eggs already. So it's almost like not a fair fight.
Okay, stop.
I'm just saying it's almost not fair.
Boo this man.
Greg, it makes logical sense, does it not?
It makes logical sense. I mean, and I'll add to that. The Chiefs, whether you guys want to admit it or not, their secondary looked a little shaky.
No, that part's true. No, the secondary, the Chiefs' pass rush and pass defense, that game against the Chargers was the worst game it's played in 4 years. That part's true. Now, was it a bad game, or is it more ominous? We'll find out. But that part is a totally fair. See, Greg, this is what I come to you for. Level-headed, legit credit, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Critiques.
Up next is the hottest segment in all of sports from sunny Kansas City as we count down to America's Game of the Week.
Welcome to Only Murders in the Building,
the official podcast.
Join me, Michael Cyril Creighton, as we go behind the scenes with some of the amazing actors, writers, and crew from season 5.
The audience should never stop suspecting anything.
How can you not be funny crawling around on a coffin? No, that's true.
Catch Only Murders in the Building official podcast, now streaming wherever you get your podcasts. And watch Only Murders in the Building, streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
Live from the Power and Light District in Kansas City. It's a show that wants to say thank you for so many wonderful people coming out, even though there are several signs that don't seem super complimentary.
KW, I don't know if our camera can get it, but this guy here has a sign. Turn it around. I'm not sleeping on Mac Jones. I'm comatose.
Okay. That's too much. That's too much.
That's an all-timer. That's an all-timer.
Thank you, everyone. The crowd is hype. I might have to change my pick.
Oh!
Well,
spoiler.
I mean, there's just so much energy here.
It is.
And as you know, I can be easily swayed, bro. I'm not a man with a lot of conviction.
Captain Easy stance.
Yes, exactly. Today, coming up in approximately 50 minutes, we will make our picks. Banners will drop in Kansas City. We will see who will pick the Eagles, who will pick the Chiefs, and who will just back away from tweets that they've been sending for the last 6 months. Also joining the show,
Will Shields.
Hall of Famer Will Shields. Coming up in about 20 minutes. But right now, we are counting down to America's Game of the Week. Super Bowl rematch, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 o'clock Kansas City time on Fox. The defending Super Bowl champion is 7-3 in the last 2 rematches.
In the last 10 rematches.
10, not 2. That doesn't make sense.
No.
That's why you're the math guy on the show. I appreciate it. Here's Jalen Hurts. 2 rematches.
Discipline is discipline, right? A hit dog, a holler. So however it hits you, that's what it applies to. That's just a challenge. That's not that's not necessarily a call out. It's more so a challenge of, man, when we play disciplined football, when we have discipline when we're disciplined in our preparation, when we have great attention to detail, we can go out there and be confident that good things will happen.
We cut that off before he said, don't get ready, stay ready, and a penny saved is a penny earned.
Okay. Here's the problem. Super Bowl hangover alert. Every time there is a rematch since 1997, it would be the Chiefs in this case who would lose the game. The only time it didn't happen is when the Eagles defeated Kansas City in 2023. So, can the Chiefs beat the Eagles if the Eagles are at their best?
I don't remember who suggested this question. And
I think it was you.
All right. Well, I'm insulted by it. So, listen, I think there is an element of people have forgotten who the Chiefs are, because I get it. It's been a whole 8 quarters of football they haven't played well. I know it's just a lifetime. It's a lifetime. 8 quarters of football that they haven't looked like the Chiefs.
Very meaningful quarters.
Well, 4 of them were very meaningful. The other one was game 1 of a season, like in Brazil. I don't know where it stacks up on the meaningful list, but there's certainly the first 4 were quite meaningful where they didn't play well. That's fine. The Chiefs, if the Chiefs play their best, they not only can beat anyone, they have proven they will beat anyone. What is the game we point to where we're like, man, Kansas City played great and lost? The only one I can think of is Mahomes' first year as a starter, AFC Championship game against Brady and the Patriots, and that one, they didn't get the ball in overtime. Now, we didn't cry about it, so the NFL didn't change the rules like they did for the Bills, but still. And so we have seen these 2 teams play, and the Eagles play great and lose a Super Bowl. We have not, there is not a game. The Eagles didn't play great, bro?
The one mistake the Eagles made was unforced. That fumble from Jalen cost them the game.
Right, but don't you think I didn't say they played perfect. The Eagles played great in that. That
wasn't their best game, though. That's the question.
Well, yeah, and so we can't point to a game that we feel like the Chiefs played their best and lost in 6 years. So yes, if the Chiefs play their best at Arrowhead, that will beat Philadelphia.
Here's the thing, and Greg and I were talking about this. If one team plays its best, the other's not going to. Because my best is going to make you not play your best.
There you go.
And that's the thing. Now, look, obviously the Chiefs are a fantastic team. But the only way they could beat the Eagles at their best is if the Chiefs are at their best. And right now, without Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, they're not at their best. So if the Eagles come in here Sunday and have their A-plus game, I'm sorry, Kansas City, because I love you, the Eagles are walking out with a W.
So, just so I can just follow up on that, if they both play A-plus games, you think the Eagles win? Because I don't.
In the state that the Chiefs are in right now without Worthy and Rice, yes.
Oh, go ahead, Greg.
Look, man, you guys look good, but I'm going to hurt your feelings. With Worthy, with Rice, at their best, the Eagles are the better team right now. It just is what it is. When you look at it, we can start with the coaching. Everyone wants to give Andy Reid all the praise, and he is deserving of it. Nick Sirianni is right there in terms of what he's been able to accomplish in this time.
Wow, let's take a bow.
Patrick Mahomes. We'll give Patrick Mahomes the nod, but in the short stint that Jalen Hurts has been the starting quarterback, he's had tremendous amount of success. Then you go to the running back. Well, we'll give that to the Eagles.
We know that.
Offensive line, Eagles. We go to the perimeter, Eagles. We go to the defensive side. Defensive line, I'll give you Chris Jones and that defensive line.
Okay.
But Jalen Carter is right there. So it's almost a wash.
But hold on. But defense as a whole, I don't know that you can give to the Eagles.
I don't know if you...
Let's call it a wash.
Based off of what we just saw in week 1 against the Chargers, I don't know that we can just nod in agreement and say, I'll give it to the Chiefs.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. So to Bru's point, because I thought both defenses played poorly in week 1. And if we want to say that for the Eagles, it's all about Jalen Carter spitting on Dak and being thrown out, so be it. But I think it was more to that. If the defense is a wash, and the Eagles obviously have the advantages, as far as the skill position groups, the offensive line, the Chiefs' advantage, you glossed over it. The Chiefs have a huge edge at quarterback and coach. And while he might not agree, I know you do. I know you.
Huge?
Yeah. Greg, You don't think Jalen Hurts is in the discussion for best quarterback in the world?
I mean,
you don't think that. You certainly don't think Nick Sirianni is in the discussion for best coach in the world. And it's the guys at the front of that discussion are the Chiefs guys. So to my point, Chiefs at their best means, in no uncertain terms, an A-plus Mahomes game.
So last year's Super Bowl, you picked the Chiefs, I picked the Chiefs, Brou picked the Chiefs.
There was one man who was brave enough to say, you know what? I don't think there's enough Mahomes magic on Super Bowl Sunday. Let's take a listen.
Greg, it's time. You haven't made your official pick.
I'm going to stand up because I found something that I just feel like was very fitting, Wilds.
Okay.
And it was somewhere over here.
Oh, no.
And I was like, we going with the Eagles. We going with the Eagles. E-A-G-L-S.
You spelled it wrong.
Everybody spells it wrong on social media. Everybody spells it wrong. E-G-L-O-E-S.
I gotta tell you.
We don't care how we get it done.
I gotta tell you.
Just get it done.
I mean, the keys.
Wow.
This is the worst moment in the history of the show.
Greg, that was last year. Even Jalen Hurts says these are two new teams. We're going to drop banners later on, but are you ready to make an early pick on this game?
I am, Wilds. I'm very ready. And look, last year was last year. It's a new season. I am smart enough to understand when I am outmanned. Today, I am outmanned. So I stand up and I salute all of you Kansas City fans. However, I stand in solidarity with one fan in here. One fan.
Oh, my God.
And I do it again.
Oh, my.
E-A-G, the power, the courage. Yes, Eagles, they will win, baby. We're locked in.
I mean.
Wow.
Whoa,
got some guts.
This is really shameful.
Through your reaction to Greg's brave pick.
Shameful.
Let's go.
Wow.
I'm with you.
Your pick is coming up. Has that reception changed your mind a little bit?
Way back.
Oh, he's back.
I mean, you better be a bodybuilder coming up in here picking the Eagles. You better have muscles upon muscles.
Number
Greg
11 is really
handing it to the crowd.
Everybody.
To be fair,
Go ahead.
I think the Super Bowl was the 5th or 6th consecutive playoff game Greg had picked against the Chiefs. And so it wasn't like a unique opinion. I'm pretty sure he had Tua and the Dolphins coming to Kansas City and beat them.
I did not.
You definitely had the
You
Bills.
want to laugh at something? I did have them in the Super Bowl losing to the Eagles.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's time now for the hottest segment in all of sports. It's Upset Alert. We're going to do a quick rehash of the standings on who really can predict games the best. Surprise, surprise. The Puxatawny Phil of football up 1-0.
So Coach picked the Giants to win. They got blasted. Brou picked the Texans to win. They didn't get blasted, but they didn't cover. Wilds picked the Titans to win. They almost came. They could have come through for you if literally anyone in this crowd were coaching the team other than Brian Callahan. So you have the thinnest of leads, 1 point for a cover, but not a outright win.
All right, it's time for upset. Who's going first in Upset Alert? Greg?
Of course. I know I just
Fan
disappointed
favorite.
the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go with this game. There's a game that we were all excited about, happened on Monday night, and the Vikings were in it. There's another game coming up. They got to play the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow.
At US Bank, hear me out. Last year, go back to last year. Last year, they played late in the season, Kirk Cousins was making his return. He ended up playing terrible, had the 2 interceptions. Conversely, Sam Darnold went bonkers, threw for 5 touchdowns, almost 350 yards, and it was a straight touchdown light show for the Minnesota Vikings. This year, week 1 was drastically different for both. They both had very emotional wins and losses.
Yep.
Atlanta Falcons losing in a fashion where Michael Penix Jr. did his job to finish the game. They just had to go up against Baker, and he finished for his team to win.
And then they missed the field goal.
And they missed the field goal by the Minnesota Vikings. JJ, I love you, man. He had a tremendous ending to that game. A lot of highs. I think this week, playing at home, trying to recapture and recreate that feeling that we saw them end with is going to be challenging, and you're going to be riding on that a little bit. I don't know if they can recapture that, and I think that the Atlanta Falcons, because of what they did experience last week against Baker and that Bucs team, they will overcome it and they will get the win.
Greg, I love that pick. I love that pick.
Brou,
And by the way, can I just tell Greg? This game was Minnesota by 4.5. It's down to 3.5 because so much money's coming in on the Falcons. People like your side of it, Greg.
All right, Brou, you need to get on the board here.
I do. I need a big one here, and I'm going with the gutsiest pick of the weekend.
Really?
On this show, I'm telling you, it's the gutsiest pick on this show of the weekend. Nick Wright will be kicking himself after this result.
I'm interested.
Because he totally just jettisoned this guy, and he's no longer his man after riding with him for so long. I am going with the Chicago Bears.
Wow.
To take down the Detroit Lions.
I love this.
A year ago, Caleb Williams didn't have a ton of great games, but 2 of his best games were against a Detroit Lions team that probably was better last year than it is this year. I get it with the defensive injuries. But in those 2 games last year, Caleb threw for almost 600 yards in the 2 games combined, 5 touchdown passes, no interceptions, and they almost beat Detroit last year. They lost 23-20 in one of those games. So I'm expecting a bounce-back game from Caleb Williams. Not a blowout by any stretch, but Chicago gets in the win column by upsetting the Detroit Lions, who will be reeling.
That's a gutsy pick,
That is.
Brou. That would flip a lot of narratives about the NFC North this season.
Yep.
Time now for the Puxatawny Phil of football to make his upset alert prediction. I know you said you were taking a big swing. Well, not quite as big.
Wow.
Browns.
Oh, man.
Over the Ravens.
Oh, stop it. He's going to stop it.
Wow.
You don't believe this.
Get me out. Oh, what's going to happen? How can Lamar's going to, of course, roll the Browns. Are you sure? Let's look at the last 6 games, Lamar against the Cleveland Browns. It's just 500. He's completing 60% of his passes. They're not letting him run. Nobody can run on Cleveland. 9 touchdowns, 3 turnovers, passer rating under 100, which is 97, still pretty good, but it's actually low from Lamar. Now, it can get out of hand. 2 of the 3 wins came by 25. Now, here's a graphic that seems to be against my own case. Best record after a loss. We oftentimes use this as a Mahomes graphic. It's also a Lamar graphic, 17-4 after a loss. The tricky thing is, one of those losses was week 2 last year in Baltimore against a team that nobody really believed in the Raiders. And why did that Raiders game happen? Because Gardner Minshew, Kansas City Chief, goes 30 for 38 for 276 yards. Felt very comfy in Baltimore. Gardner feels, got his jean shorts on. Joe Flacco in Baltimore? You think he's going to be like, oh, poor me, Joe Flacco, I'm 45 years old. He's going to feel very comfy. That Ravens defense, Brou, which we know is in their DNA, I just watched them give up 40 points and fall apart. Do I think
Josh Allen, not Joe Flacco.
Ooh, Joe Flacco feels comfy there. Joe Flacco's like, by the way, I'm a Super Bowl MVP. Ravens fall to the Browns.
You would take a massive early season lead. 14.5-pointer right there.
Huge.
KW.
It's time now, whether you like it or not.
No, that's not.
For Nick's picks.
Indeed. Nick's picks. Hey, you know what we didn't bring to Kansas City? The throne. You know why? I don't know what camera. There we go. Because Danny ain't on it anymore. I'm 2-1. You'll find out what his record is in about an hour, but it ain't 2-1. The only team let me down was the Chiefs. More on them in a moment. Raiders, 2.5-point dogs, went outright. Buffalo, the point of line value. They opened as 1.5-point favorites. We didn't bet it then. As 1.5-point dogs, they cover and win. Almost the rarest of rare. Never a doubts for the Bills. 2-1 on the year. Let's get started. KW. It's now or never for the New England Patriots.
It is. Oh.
The Patriots getting a point and a half against Miami. Miami's got 2 corners haven't practiced this week. An offensive lineman, a D tackle, one of their tight ends not practicing. Now, I don't love that Christian Gonzalez is probably out, and I don't love that the real feel for the game might be 104. However, Miami is already in the dreaded players-only meeting portion of the season. We're a week in, boys. If the Patriots can't win this game, they're cooked. They're done. They got to win. I think they will win. Getting a point and a half, I'll take it. Next, going back to one of my favorites, the Prince getting 3.5 against Cincinnati. As bad as Cincinnati is in week 1, they're actually worse in week 2. Yeah. Zach Taylor, guess what? He doesn't win in week 2. Joe Burrow, he doesn't win in week 2. And now that Bengals O-line against Josh Hines Allen, against that Jags front, Travis Hunter gonna be more involved. The Prince, and I'm getting more than a field goal. Can the Jags win outright? Absolutely. Do they have to win outright? No, they don't. 24-21, either direction, I'll take the win. And don't show it yet, Dust. It's very rare. And again, gamble responsibly. Don't bet more than you can afford to lose. However, we might go the next 10 years and not have this type of investment opportunity. The Kansas City Chiefs are underdogs at Arrowhead. I'll say it again. The Kansas City Chiefs are underdogs at Arrowhead. Tom Brady in his heyday went 8 years without being an underdog at home. It took Peyton Manning peak Broncos coming into Gillette to be an underdog. As respect the Eagles, respect Jalen Hurts, he ain't Peyton Manning peak Broncos. The Chiefs getting a point and a half in a game they are going to win outright. So all dogs, all live dogs. Patriots plus 1.5. The Prince and the Jags plus 3.5. And the Chiefs plus 1.5. That's a 3-0 weekend.
I'm rooting for you. What happened last time Mahomes was an underdog in Arrowhead?
They lost.
Oh, wow.
It's only happened once ever.
I have a commitment to the truth. Chiefs great and Hall of Famer Will Shields joins First Things First live from the Power and Light District in Kansas City. Next. Welcome back to First Things First. Live from the Power and Light District in beautiful Kansas City. Crowd is on fire. It's about 95 degrees, which I didn't know it got this hot in Kansas City in September. But it's been wonderful. And joining us now, 12-time Pro Bowler, Walter Payton Man of the Year Award winner, and NFL Hall of Famer, Will Shields. Will, thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
One of the greatest Chiefs of my or anyone's lifetime. Someone who I grew up watching play in the 90s, and then, longer than that, 14 years, never missed a game. More on that in a bit. I want to know what your emotions were watching the Super Bowl last year because of how the Eagles were able to disrupt the Chiefs, where they didn't have to send pressure, and your position, the offensive line, just couldn't seemingly hold up for any time to let anything get going.
Well, it was a mirror image of what you saw when they played Tampa Bay. You got to think about it that way, that the line was decimated, the guys weren't healthy, and you're moving guys from place to place. Makes it hard. You hope you have that glimmer of chance just because you have Mahomes magic in the room, but he couldn't do it all by himself, and it made it tough. If your line is not healthy, it makes life very tough on you. So it was tough to watch, but it was one of those things that you see as it progresses. If you don't help those guys when they're there and they need help, it makes it tough.
To follow up there, the Chiefs, I know, felt incredibly lucky that a player as talented as Josh Simmons was available at pick 32. He was a guy who was incredibly highly rated prospect, suffered an injury that scared off some teams, which is why he was available. He's luckily been healthy since he got to Kansas City. As a Hall of Fame offensive lineman, what do you see in Josh Simmons, and what do you think his potential is as Mahomes' blindside protector?
Well, I'll just say this. He's making a great start for himself. You know, he showed up to camp in shape. He was ready to play and ready to be plugged in and give them an opportunity to sort of solidify that left side, which is very important. And that's one thing that he's got going for him. He's out there performing, playing his tail off, and that's what makes a big difference. And I think he's going to get better. And that's the one thing about it. He's going to get better, which is even something that's really unique for them to find that talent that they needed for that left side.
I'm going to go to the Eagles. As Wild said, you never missed a game during your playing career, so you're obviously tough. Would you have liked doing the tush push when you played?
Yeah, of course. I mean, to me, it's not a big deal. I mean, the thing of it is, though, make the rules even. If they can push, why can't the defense push? So to me, that's just that even it out a little bit there because it's part of the process. I understand they worry about injuries and things of that nature, but give those guys a chance to sort of fight it, fire with fire.
So I'm going to piggyback on what Brou was talking about you never missing a game, because a lot of guys have their own workouts in the off season, but not many of us go 14 years, 231 consecutive games, never missing it. With as physically grueling as this game is, now, I got to say this too. I know you got a birthday coming up, Virgo spirit,
yes. Hey,
so excellent spirit. You're very disciplined. What was your routine in the offseason to prepare you for such long seasons?
I was a guy that tried to never get out of shape. So I'd take 2 weeks off, and then I'd start working out again. I'd start, in the pool, on the bike, doing different things to work out to get back in shape. And so then, also, when we started our off-season workout, I do the workout in the morning, but then I do a different one in the afternoon. Have a team around you doing, the massage therapy and all of that.
Whoa.
So you got to get ahead of it,
Wait.
You got to get ahead of it, man. Back
Wait.
in the day, even back in those days.
So you would do the workout that all of us as a team would do.
Yes.
And then later on, you would go do another one?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay, that makes sense why.
Yeah,
that's the reason right there.
Yeah, man. Footwork is key, man. You got to understand your balance, your footwork, your handwork. So that second workout was all about changing up the work. So I actually used to work with soccer coaches to work on footwork, which was pretty cool. It was fun.
Wow.
Jalen Carter for the Eagles. Didn't have a sack in the Super Bowl, but you got to pay attention to him. Obviously ejected and turns out suspended for game one.
Suspended, but he'll play.
He was suspended, but he will play.
Yeah.
Sort of a narrative out there. Oh, he'll be extra fired up for this game. What do you think the Chiefs line does to stop and slow down Jalen Carter?
Well, you got to realize, anytime you play football for a living, you're always fired up. You always want to play your best. You never want to put something bad. I don't think it's going to be more emphasis on, just because I missed a game, then I'm going to put more into it. But I think you have to account for him. He's a guy that's very big and strong and wrecks things in the middle. So you got to be accounted for him. So those are things you do where you add backs into the B gap as well as help with the little down blocks here and those kind of things. That would help out as you make a difference. And I think those are things that you'll probably have to do as you move forward.
So, you had such a long career. You blocked for a lot of legendary players. But near the tail end of your career, it's you and Willie Roaf, two Hall of Fame guys on the left side of the line. And it felt to me as a fan like there were some years or certainly some games where if you guys had told the opponent, we are running left side on this play, on this snap count, it wouldn't have mattered. It feels to me like at times that the Eagles have unlocked that level with their offensive line, where everyone, I'm not even talking tush push, but everyone knows we're running Saquon behind Mailata or behind Lane Johnson, and they can't stop it. What type of mental impact can you see on a defense when they know you're running at them, they're prepared, they have the right front, and you're still getting 6 yards on it?
Well, the cool thing about it is when we had Willie was on the left side, I was on the right side.
Yep.
So we used to go left side, right side. So we used to battle each other of who's going to be the best and who's going to do the best. I think the Eagles have sort of embodied that with their line. They've set a precedent with having, the guys that came before them, the Kelces and them, as this is their level of line of what they're going to do. But also, they're committed to the run. They've got a running back there that's unique and special, and that's also easier to commit when you have a guy back there that knows he's gonna make you look pretty good regardless of what you do.
We were talking about it earlier. So in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs said, we're not getting beat by Saquon Barkley. They took away the run. Jalen Hurts in the passing game hurts them. Do you think they change it up in this game and try to play more balanced or take away the pass? Or do you just, every time you're playing Saquon Barkley, you got to be like, look, first priority is stop the run, and we'll take our chances with Jalen Hurts?
Well, and that's that give and go, that gamble. Am I going to gamble to get the arm and the leg of Jalen, or I'm going to get Saquon in the backfield? For me, hey, they're saying, hey, can we take Saquon out of the game and basically say you're going to have to pass and make those things happen? It also depends on the strength of the defense at the moment. If you got great DBs, then yeah, that's what you're going to do. Take the run away, let our DBs play man-to-man and see what they can do. If not, you go vice versa and say, look, we'll give him his yards underneath. We're going to help the secondary by giving us some more push things back there so that you can make things happen.
So with what we saw last week, though, I mean, the Chargers passing game had its way. Do you think they need to kind of look at changing the strategy, the Chiefs defense?
Well, I think, the coach is good. He does what he does. He loves to get you in third and long and everything else, and I think that's what they're going to do. Try to get you in that third long so that he can make the things happen with blitzes and different ways of stunning. But I think as you go, you can't let guys run even all the way through the secondary, just like last week. So, and they've got some talented guys back there.
So I got a question that I can kind of speak to myself. When we retire as players, we get to watch the game from a different lens, and then we watch players, and we have this feeling, or this, not a feeling, but a thought of watching the game and looking for players that resemble who we were as a player. Do you see anybody in today's game playing offensive line that resembles who you were as a player?
Well, I think it's really hard to sort of say that because every era is different. It's more of a pass run. It's more pass first than run first. Plus, there's this thing called an RPO that everybody runs. So it's hard to find that guy that's really that smash mouth guy that's going to go downhill, that wants to run and get in space when he can pull the ball and throw it every other snap. So it's really hard to get that one guy or two guys. But, I do get a chance to work with my Chiefs guys every once in a while and try to train them to sort of help them get to that smash mouth piece.
Yeah, Trey Smith's got some of your game in him.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Trey Smith's out there in a clean, ethical way trying to hurt people.
Yeah, we spend a little time together.
Okay, so. I would imagine. Yeah, I mean, Joe Montana, 4 Super Bowl wins, 16 career playoff wins, the last of which came alongside you with the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes in 7 years just passed Joe Montana for career playoff wins with 17.
Yeah.
It seems impossible, but it happened. Is there, from the moment you first saw Patrick as a Chief to now, could you have ever seen anything like this coming? And is there, when you're watching him, what are you seeing?
Well, I think the one thing that's really, really special about what he does, when he is on the field, he is in control of everything. He understands it. And he's a young man that loves the game. When I go in and I speak to the team, you can see his love for the game by what he's doing. The guy that's writing down extra plays, the guy that's trying to figure out what's next, he's already 3 steps ahead. So when he steps on the field and you watch him in practice, it's the same difference. When he walks on the field, everybody knows whatever he says goes. And that is that guy that you really want to have, but you want the whole team to sort of buy into that, but also study just as well so you can see it even before he sees it. So you're all on the same page. And I think that's what's really cool about this team is they got to build that up and get that back going because you got a lot of young guys that's trying to fill that in and figure that out as they keep changing the game.
I just have one curveball we didn't tell you about, but it just occurred to me. Yeah. Do you remember Cowboys head coach now, Brian Schottenheimer, as a kid, or him being, because Marty, his late great father, coached you for years and years. Do you have any cool Brian Schottenheimer as a kid anecdotes for us?
Well, as a kid, he came in and out. We had a couple of days that he would come in as a young man, which was good. Yeah. But I actually had a chance to go through 2 training camps with Brian, or with Shotty, when he was actually at the Jets. I was a assistant coach for the training camp. So I got a chance to go and watch how he actually prepares for it, changes things up, and do those things. So it's really cool to watch as he's grown into this guy that's, you know, going to run a good team and going to see these guys do very well as they move forward.
Well, before we let you go, do you have a prediction for Sunday's game?
My prediction's always to win. I don't care what we do and how we do it. That's our job.
1-1 or 2-1. Yep. Your Chiefs, Will's Chiefs, Greg's Eagles. Right now, 2-1. Will, thank you very much. Appreciate you joining us. More first things first.
Once upon a mundane morning, Barb's day got busy without warning. A realtor in need of an open house sign. No, 50 of them, and designed before 9.
My head hurts.
Any mighty tools to help with this plight?
Aha!
Barb made her move. She opened Canva and got in the groove.
Bulk creating Canva sheets. Create 50 signs fit for suburban streets.
Done in a click, all complete.
Sweet!
Now, imagine what your dreams can become when you put imagination to work at canva.com.
Welcome back to First Things First, live from the Power and Light District in beautiful Kansas City. A special thank you to this crowd. Nick, your hometown has over-delivered.
Kansas City's the best sports town in America, and they show it every single time we're out here. Now, usually it's for championship parades. This is just for day 1 of a 3-day pregame into the biggest game of the year.
It's time now to make our picks. I have something to read. I got this quote. I did this little video on YouTube, Brou, and I saw this comment because I do read the comments and I write them. Craziest Captain Easy Stance take. I'm in Kansas City. I can't take the backlash and boos of the fans. I have to pick the Chiefs. It's quite literally the easiest stance.
And if you pick the Chiefs, today will always forever be known, as stated by Mayor Quentin Lucas, as Kevin Wild's Day in Kansas City.
I am known as Captain Easy Stance. However, I don't like it. History repeats itself. Again.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
It hurts me too.
Wow.
What's the score?
It hurts me too.
Wait, what? Did you pick the score 40-22?
History repeats itself.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
You have a blowout? You're picking a blowout.
Wow.
I see the not beloved signs.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Because Kansas City, you have turned out today, brought the energy. You have been absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
I do not like making this pick.
Oh, bro.
Really? I do not like making this pick. No. Eagles!
No.
31-21. I'm sorry.
I know it hurts. It's the burden of the truth.
There is a team in the NFL that has won more games than anyone in the league the last 7 years, that has been in the Final Four all 7 of the last 7 years, that hosts an event that used to be called the AFC Championship Game and is now known as the Arrowhead Invitational, that has been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, including 3 straight. That team is your hometown team. And this weekend, around 3:30 Kansas City time till around 6:45, they remind the entire world who the hell they are. The Chiefs win. Give me a damn break. Give me a break.
Well done.
What's the score?
27-24. It's a good game.
It's a good game.
It's a good game.
Solid game. Kansas City, thank you. You've been absolutely fantastic. First things first, overtime coming up at 5 o'clock. Thank you again.
Yeah, we're sticking around for another hour.
But the crowd has been so good.
Yes, 1 hour left, guys.
Live from Kansas City. It's the show that just made some very controversial picks. Danny, welcome. Thank you. Your pick is coming up.
You picked a blowout, bro.
I didn't pick anything that hasn't happened in the last 6 months.
Facts.
Technically not true.
7 months.
7 months.
7 months. Look, I don't think if I look over at my banner, which I didn't know was going to be hanging there, 40-22 does sound ridiculous. At the same time, little known fact, the last time these two teams met, it was 40-22, bro.
I give you credit, Wilds. I mean, you could have had Kevin Wilds then.
Yeah,
I understand.
You
It's a big thing to
had
pass up.
integrity, and you stuck with your gut. So I'll give you credit.
We're gonna find out in about 15 minutes who Danny's going with. He used to work here and live here, met his wife here. His best friend is from here.
That's right.
And
I love Kansas City.
He's smart. So that should be a pretty obvious one.
I'll be honest,
The
Danny.
way he said that.
The heel corner is getting full with me, Greg, and Brou. So
Yeah, a lot of you guys have played the heel well. And
the hero corner is wide open.
do you still
Just
feel
Nick
beloved
Wright.
in Kansas City?
Of course I'm beloved in Kansas City.
That's interesting.
They have an interesting way of.
Oh, they're yelling Brou. No, it's me, Wilds. They keep yelling Brou. They love the show. Love the show. Today on First Things First, overtime. No Xavier Worthy, we don't think. No Rashee Rice. Do Mahomes and Kelce need to carry the Chiefs to a victory, specifically skinny Kelce? Meanwhile, what happens if the opposite of what I think happens? What happens if it's the Chiefs who blow out the Eagles? Kansas City's Nick Wright has a take that you need to hear. But right now, of course, we are starting with Chris Jones looking for some payback. Eagles still favored in this one by 1.5. Here's Chris Jones.
It's a very fortunate situation to make it to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, we didn't win. It gives us a little more of an edge that we didn't win, that we get to have an opportunity to play these guys again, against a heck of a team. For us, offers the challenge to play them again and also get some payback.
Okay, what would a Chiefs blowout mean?
Is that the question here?
No, what would an 0-2
What would an
start
0-2 start
mean?
mean? I thought is what we were doing here. Maybe
I've got blowout on the brain. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
What Mahomes' first ever
Wilds' world.
It would mean, for the first time since Mahomes' first year as a starter, they're going to have to play some meaningful regular season games. Every Chiefs, it's just true. They win the division since Mahomes passed his first year as a starter by somewhere from 3 to 5 games every year. They are, they have at the very least home field in the first round, if not throughout the playoffs, locked up well before week 18. You fall to 0-2 against what I believe is a good, but I don't believe great Eagles team yet. I think if they're going to be great, their defense is going to have to show market improvement over the course of the year with all the new players. It's going to mean it's going to be a battle. And here is maybe the most important piece of it, they would oddly be facing the unprecedented for Kansas City true must-win in week 3. Now, luckily, they were playing the New York Giants, but to fall to
Don't want to be there.
You fall to 0-3 with a loss to the Giants, then all of the media naysaying maybe had a point. But the idea that it says anything about their chances of doing what they do every year, which is play in the conference championship game at a minimum, it would, to me, say nothing about that.
But there's been no 0-2 team to go to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl since these playoffs have been expanded, because the goal isn't the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, but that's
not
like
the
how
goal.
long? We're talking about in the last 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, but it hasn't happened for any 0-2 team since 2007.
Yep.
It's hard. It's hard to be a great team and start 0-2, and it would be 3 straight losses. I don't expect diehard Chiefs fans to feel less invincible, but I do think the rest of the NFL would say, they only had 4 blowout wins last year. They got blown out in the Super Bowl. They lost on a neutral field. Andy Reid with extra time. That's normally his superpower. The Chargers just beat him in that scenario. And then the Super Bowl rematch facing 0-2, you lose again. The Giants would, you could say wrongly, the Giants would believe the Chiefs are vulnerable if the Eagles win this game.
Well, the Giants can believe whatever they want. They're not beating the Chiefs. All right. So,
I agree with you. But I say the rest of the league will believe it.
All right. And also on the 0-2, remember, most of those years they played 16 games, not 17. So that makes a little bit of a difference. So 0-2, I agree with Nick, would mean nothing as far as me thinking the Chiefs are still would have a legitimate chance of getting to the Super Bowl, still will be one of the best teams in the league. But what 0-2 would tell me is, one, for the first time since Mahomes, because I disagree with the not having meaningful regular season games. Because remember a few years ago when was it 3-4 they started, or 4 or 5?
5 years ago they started 3-4.
So they've had some before. But I think this would really put the AFC West title in jeopardy. Not because they don't have enough time, but with the Chiefs starting 0-2, looking vulnerable, and how good the Chargers are, I would think, okay, this might be the first year they don't win the AFC West. But I would definitely think they still had a chance at getting to the Super Bowl. And Danny is right. The mystique would be all but gone around the league.
That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, that mystique would be gone, and every game now is going to be tougher because teams really believe they can beat you.
See, so this to me is a great example and a bit of proof of what I'm talking about with the Chiefs somehow being judged in their own category, but not, you would think they get judged in their own category in a positive way because they've been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. No one's ever done that. But it's the opposite. Last year, a universally held contender who had a great season the previous year started 0-2 with one of the losses not coming to a potential playoff team or Super Bowl contender. That loss came to the Raiders. And no one was saying, well, no one's scared of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry anymore. The mystique of the
Baltimore hasn't had that mystique. Only one team has it, and that's the Chiefs.
But there was, Brou, we weren't saying that, oh, now they better worry about their division. We weren't saying that this signals that Baltimore is in some real trouble. And I know you're not saying that. Like, that's the part that I can't get. That if the Detroit maybe, because we had less faith going into this year, but it seems like that if any of the other top flight teams played back-to-back weeks against teams that the Vegas thought were going to be playoff teams, you know what I mean? And let's assume, again, I'm assuming they're not blown out like you're saying. They play a good game and lose to Philadelphia. I don't think people will be freaking out. And I think we are creating, it's almost faux panic for a team because there's been so little intrigue about where this team's going to end up at the end of the year over the last half decade.
If they start 0-2, the second loss coming on Sunday to the Eagles, Danny, would you buy that there would be a new bully on the block? That it wouldn't be the Kansas City Chiefs, which it has been for several years, that the Eagles kind of take that mantle as Super Bowl champions and they have sort of hit the Goliath of the NFL?
I think that's already happened. The AFC goes through Kansas City, but if you win the Super Bowl and you are the preseason favorite, which is what the Eagles were, I feel like the bully on the block are your Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow.
See, so I guess that it wasn't when the Rams won the Super Bowl, we didn't the next year say, all right, they're the team that everyone has to go through. And we have had, this is the point I'm making, Brou, and I think you'll agree with me. We have done this now with 4 different teams, saying that teams that have accomplished, none of them other than Philly now, had won a Super Bowl when we did it with them. We did it with Cincinnati based on 1 playoff win. We did it with Buffalo based on regular season dominance, and we did it briefly with Baltimore based on them blowing people out. That team is the new standard. That team is now the team to beat, and that I think is just foolish. I didn't feel like that in 20, and I know you don't love these, but when the Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl against the defining dynasty New England Patriots that actually we now know prevented the Patriots from three-peating, I didn't feel that the next year Philadelphia was the team to beat. And if Philadelphia had beaten the Patriots in week 2, I still wouldn't have. It was the Patriots era. They were in the midst of 8 straight conference championship games and 4 Super Bowls in 8 years or 6 years, whatever it was. And everyone acknowledged that for some reason, or 3 Super Bowls in 6 years. they are so quick to say, nope, the Chiefs have lost it.
Well, here's where I agree with you. The Chiefs are judged by a double standard. Because they've been so great, that's the standard they've created. It's like a boxer, a heavyweight fighter, who's knocking everybody out for years. And then he has several fights in a row where he wins. I'm not even going to say he loses, but he doesn't knock anybody out. He lands great punches and doesn't knock them out. People would start, even as he continues to be great, people would start wondering, is he still what he used to be? He's not knocking guys out anymore. So it's really out of respect for the Chiefs having created this incredibly high standard. But when we see them lose games, we're not used to seeing them lose games, let alone important games, let alone games where they go into them like, this is a must win. And that's why we would overreact perhaps to a loss and to a third straight loss.
I mean, the results last year were dominant, 15-2 in a Super Bowl appearance. But when you watched, they didn't feel dominant. They only had 4 blowout wins. They close games in the playoffs. The Houston game was 13-12 going into the fourth quarter. Like, they just did not feel dominant last year.
I don't want to be dismissive, and this isn't directed at you because
it's okay.
That is a
Definitely
sentiment.
is going to be.
Yeah, I know. It's a good preamble, and here comes the dismissal.
That is a sentiment shared by so many people in the media. I could not care less how the Chiefs make you feel. As long as they have been every year there, and the last 2 years, 3 years actually, legitimately doubted each step. What are they going to look like without Tyreek? How are they going to win on the road? All these close wins are fugazi and they're not going to get there. And they play in the Super Bowl every year. And then people are like, yeah, but I felt so much more warm and fuzzy watching the Detroit Lions, which I heard all of last year. And drop your point differential championship, Detroit, because it's the only one you got. Like, I just don't buy it.
I like that.
Felt like a shot at me, but I still liked it. Turn our attention to the quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts. Last time he was in Arrowhead, he left with a win. His coach left Arrowhead yelling at fans. Here's Jalen Hurts on talking about starting quickly against the Chiefs.
I think the most important thing when you go into, any game and any hostile environment is just to have great communication and really come together and being on the same page. And when we do that, so we're all aligned when we're out there on the field. So gotta play with good urgency.
Okay, Brou, what would it mean if Jalen Hurts outplays Patrick Mahomes?
For the most part, nothing.
Really?
He's not better than Patrick Mahomes. For him to even get in the conversation, I still wouldn't say he's better than Mahomes, but if you want to say he, for the time being, is the best quarterback in the league, that conversation doesn't begin until he wins this year's Super Bowl. Like, no regular season win. I don't care if he outplays Mahomes, because it is a team game, and he has the better receivers, the better running back, the better offensive line. So he should outplay Patrick Mahomes in this game. Mahomes is without his 2 best receivers. So it wouldn't mean much to me. Look, Jalen Hurts clearly has no fear of Mahomes. We've seen Lamar Jackson, not so much Josh Allen, but, guys get shook by the presence of Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I give Jalen credit. That is not him even before he was beating Mahomes. So he deserves credit, but there's no way I'm going to say he's better than Patrick Mahomes if he gets a win on Sunday.
I don't think there's any way I'll say that he individually is better than Patrick Mahomes, even if he wins the Super Bowl. Like, my eyes tell me that Mahomes is better than Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, but the situations are so different. Like, I don't think that's a particularly, weak.
It's not a controversial take anywhere except for on the set you're sitting on right now,
that seems like a fairly obvious observation about who the better quarterback is. But if Jalen Hurts has the game that Justin Herbert just had last week, well, yeah, because now he's got the rings, he's got the hardware, he's the leader, he's the gamer, and you're winning because of him with throwing the ball consistently. Yeah. I do think it will change how we talk about how dangerous the Eagles are. It's like, oh, they can do that too? Maybe their defense is a little worse. But if they can be the best running team and one of the best passing teams, because Jalen Hurts looked awesome in that game against Dallas. And we talked about the scramble touchdowns. Like, if he backs up that game where he had the first multi-scramble running game of his career, and he comes out and has 300 yards passing with a few touchdowns through the air, we'll be like, oh, he really can do anything. So I think it'll be more about how we talk about the Eagles than about any individual quarterback ranking.
What do you think about this? It will prove that the Jalen Hurts is a bad matchup for the Chiefs. Not that he's necessarily better, but of every team that he's played multiple times, his 320 total yards, it's the most. So it's like he's a bad matchup for Steve Spagnuolo. He's a bad matchup for Chris Jones. He's a bad matchup for the secondary. He's a bad matchup for KC. Is he better than Mahomes? Probably not. But he's a bad matchup.
So listen, it took us till overtime of our Friday show.
Takes a while to get.
But you got to what I think is a fair point. And this goes back, if you were watching 2 hours ago, when we were talking about rivals. I don't view Jalen Hurts at the tier of player yet, and to Danny's point, maybe ever, but I won't put a ceiling on him because it makes you mad, yet, to where he is eligible to be Mahomes' rival. The Eagles are definitively the Chiefs' rival. Like, in large part because no one else has been up to the challenge. No, like, the only guy who was Tom Brady, and he's calling this game. So, but your point of, does Jalen Hurts present specific problems for a Chiefs defense that historically has played its best against the best quarterbacks? That's interesting. Like, that is something that I think is fair. And that's also where, if you want to give Nick Sirianni some extra credit, because he's the head coach but offensive-minded, that does he do his offenses present problems for what the Chiefs try to do? I'll listen to that. Does the fact that they have an offensive line that is solid everywhere so it can hold up against Chris Jones expose that the other Chiefs pass rushers, a lot of their production is based on the gravity caused by Chris Jones? Yep. I'll buy all of that. What I won't buy in any way, shape, or form, and I don't think even Jalen Hurts' beloved mother, who I spoke with before the Super Bowl, would pass a polygraph on, that anything can happen on Sunday that makes anyone who watches the NFL say Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. The other stuff I'll go with you on.
Okay, hey, we've met in the middle there. Yeah. It's time now for Parkins Picks. Parkins, are you putting on a costume?
Yeah, please.
I mean, I'm glad there's a Parkins posse, but I got to tell you, this is going to be very, very disappointing when they show the record from last week.
Last week, Nick,
because
it's a small sample.
We're in a new season. Let me make this ridiculous outfit look better for you. So
Thank you.
It'll be even funnier when they show your record. Go ahead. Look at this idiot. Look at this idiot. Go ahead.
I'm the idiot that stole your throne.
Yeah.
Rough start to Parkins Picks. That's true. With a 1-2 performance last week. I mean, the Colts was as easy as I thought it was. Nick right over here had him as the #1 pick in the draft. They have the best offensive performance of any team week 1. The Texans, if it wasn't for double-digit penalties, that would have been a cover against the Rams. And I got to be honest, I was wrong about the Lions and the Green Bay Packers. But the past is the past. 1-2. Let's get to your 3-0 slate in week 2. We begin in the AFC East with the Buffalo Bills. Favorites were good for me last year. I'm going back to the well. The Bills -6.5. They have dominated the AFC East. Average margin of victory in division games for the Bills the last 5 years is a double-digit victory. So the Bills blowout. I don't think Justin Fields is going to do that again. Top 3 game of Fields' career. The Rams, I doubted them for a week. I said I needed to see it, but I'm back on with it. The Titans might have the worst offense in the NFL, and the Rams defense looked great last week. And if I'm going to bet Matt Stafford and the Rams, I want to do it now when he's healthy. So I will lay the 5.5 points with the Rams. But guys, I met someone who said they paid their rent multiple times last year following Parkins Picks.
Okay.
And so I decided there have been many people here who have been waiting for my pick on this game. And Nick is correct. I got Kansas City in my blood. My mom's family is from Kansas City. I love Kansas City. I love Tank 7 and Joe's and Jack Stack and Waldo and the Plaza and Westport.
This is great.
I love everything about Kansas City. This is my de facto second home. Brou's got a million homes. I got 2, Chicago and Kansas City.
Yeah.
And I love you all, but I love being right more.
Oh,
so I'm on the Eagles.
Oh, my. What a shocker.
-1.5. They're a favorite for the reason. I like being right. I want to pay that man's rent. The Eagles cover the spread.
Excellent television.
I'm with the Sharps. Parkins pick.
Excellent job, number 10.
Thank you.
Excellent work.
Wow. I love you, Kansas City.
You're the only one.
You guys are all such dopes.
Kansas City loves me. They'll forgive me.
Excellent job. Greg Jennings, who also picked the Eagles.
That's right.
Joins us next. We're going to talk about Xavier Worthy, who's posting free one.
Oh, he wants to play.
He wants to play.
Yeah, that's right. Rip that up.
Coming up next on First Things First, live from the Power and Light District in Kansas City. Live from the Power and Light District in Kansas City, Missouri. This audience, this crowd has been fantastic. Nick, you have offered to buy beers for everyone that has a sign. I didn't think you were expecting this many signs, however.
I 100% was. I knew it. Now, I was expecting when I stopped by the bank for them to have 10s instead of 20s. So it's kind of cost me about double what I thought. And Greg was worried. This is what a good friend Greg is. Greg pulled me to the side earlier and was like, hey, man, just so you know, I got extra cash in my bag if you need it. I was like, thank you, Greg Jennings. You got my back.
Drinks on Nick Wright. Drinks on Nick Wright after the show.
Man, Brou, smartest in the room.
Yeah. Greg Jennings back on the desk. We're talking about Xavier Worthy. This is new practice footage. This one's actually old practice footage. He's got this shoulder brace on. Hits a little dance with the shoulder brace, too. I like it.
Yeah.
This is today's footage.
Smaller brace today.
Smaller brace. The brace is getting smaller and smaller, and oh, come on. He's ready to go. He also hopped on social media and wrote free one. So, Nick, you put on your fake news hat.
Yep.
The hat is fake, but the news is real.
Correct.
You said he is not playing.
Yeah, correct.
But I see him at practice. I see him putting on social media that he wants to play.
Yeah. He's not going to play.
Okay.
And that's the smart thing to do. If this were a playoff game, I think he'd play. And
agree.
But the reason, and then we'll get into the real question. But here's the math on it, so to speak. He is not having surgery. If that thing pops out again, he will need surgery. Surgery will end his season. I think the feeling is the more time you give it to strengthen and heal, the less likely it is to pop out. While I'm not a receiver like Greg and Brou, I oddly suffered this exact injury and had to have surgery to fix it because it kept popping out. The hope is that's not what Xavier is going to deal with. The risk is Xavier is kind of my build. So there is a little bit of worry that could happen. But without Xavier Worthy, I actually, to answer the question about Kelce, KW, don't think this is a Travis Kelce 150-yard game, Danny. I think this is a Patrick Mahomes completes passes to at least 7, if not 8 guys game. I think this is because while the Eagles secondary is vulnerable, it has 2 great players in it, in Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. But I think you can pick on wherever they aren't. So I think Noah Gray is going to pop out. Yep. I think Tyquan Thornton will make a play. Yeah. Obviously, Hollywood is going to be the focal point from the deep downfield. And I think Kelce will be mixed in. But where the Eagles are really good is with Bond and that rookie, Jahad Campbell, in the middle, which is what makes him so tough.
But I think when you say those names and then you say Travis Kelce's name, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. I don't see any path to a Chiefs win without Kelce having a big game. Like you can say 7 different guys, that's fine, but someone's going to still need to put the ball in the end zone. Patrick's going to look for him in the red zone, and we've seen the Eagles have the Chiefs number, except when Kelce had a big game. Like when Kelce had a big game in the win, he had 81 yards. They scored 38 points. They were targeting him a ton, and he was a no-show in the games where they've lost big. The Chiefs just are not a scary team without their weapons. Mahomes is terrifying. Reed is terrifying. But we've seen it. They've been a pedestrian offense when their big-time receivers have been hurt. So I don't see how they get through without Kelce stepping up.
He has to have a big game. If the Chiefs are going to achieve success without Xavier Worthy, without some of Rashee Rice, obviously we know he's out because of the suspension. Just because Travis Kelce is older, we don't expect it every single week. In moments like this, we do expect it. Yep. In moments like the Super Bowl, you were expecting it.
That's
Everybody out here was expecting it, and we didn't get it. And so if you're Travis Kelce, you're mindful of that as well. Patrick Mahomes is mindful of that. And you understand offensively, in order for those other guys that you named, Nick, to have the success and to be impactful, Travis Kelce has to be impactful first.
Yeah, look, when you've lost 2 straight games, you've lost 2 straight to this one team, and then 1 to a team that rarely, if hardly ever, beats you in the Chargers, in that locker room, the veterans, I believe, are saying, we got to step up. We got to step up to lead the team. So I do think Kelce's going into this thinking this is a game where I need to have a big one. Strategically, I do think they're going to need to be hitting him underneath and maybe open things up for Hollywood Brown, Tyquan Thornton down the field, and that could really change the game. So I do think Kelce needs to be big in this game.
Dusty, I don't know if you have the graphic of Mahomes without Worthy and Rashee Rice. But, Nick, it shows here that, look, the touchdowns are still there, 11 and 2 when they are off the field. The yards per pass dropped way down. The percentage of time throwing deep was even further down, and we know that was an emphasis that he wanted to stretch the field. Now, you can say maybe Hollywood and Tyquan Thornton, former Patriot, caught a deep one. Maybe that'll continue. But to me, if I'm the Eagles, like, man, they can't get it down the field without those guys. It's going to be more of a one-dimensional game.
Well, it will be, I think, the style that people don't like and the style, honestly, that the Chiefs employed successfully in the second half against the Chargers. Because the Chiefs' offense against the Chargers in the second half, if they got every yard possible, given where their drive started, it would have been, I think, 221, and they finished with 214. You know what I mean? They moved the ball as much as they could on those drives, but it is those slow, methodical, you know what I mean? Very
conversions.
Third down conversions or fourth down conversions. It honestly is it started, what we saw all of last year is what we saw in the fourth quarter and overtime of the Super Bowl against the Niners, the final game they played before last year, where they had to get points at the end of the fourth quarter. I think it was like an 11-play, drive to end the game. And then in overtime, I think it was a 12-play, ended up being touchdown drive. It is asking so much of Patrick, and I believe he'll deliver, because what is odd and what I will concede about the Chiefs the last couple years, when they have either, just not had the receivers healthy, or the receivers they had healthy are just dropping the ball. They went from a team that 3rd and 17 used to be nothing to a team that a holding penalty feels like it kills a drive.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of teams in the league where a hold, it's like, okay, that's half a turnover. The Chiefs were never that. In this game, without Rice and Worthy, I think that's more of who they are, which is also why I think Travis headbutted Jawan Taylor, because he was so frustrated that he was committing those penalties.
Also, remember about Kelce, it's tough to get inside the mind of a world-class athlete, but he basically intimated that a huge part of the reason why he came back and even played this season was because of how poorly he played in that Super Bowl against the Eagles. He said he was embarrassed by what he put on tape in that game. And then this week on his podcast, he felt terrible that he ran the wrong depth of his route that hurt Xavier Worthy. That is probably the reason Worthy's not out here. So in terms of his own personal motivation, obviously Super Bowl rematch, huge game, he's going to be motivated anyway. But for him personally, he wants to right the wrong that he did in the Super Bowl.
All right, so I totally agree with the Super Bowl take. I have a question about the Xavier Worthy take, and I want to ask you, Greg. No disrespect to our other receiver, Brou.
That's the wide receiver end of the table.
Yeah. Do you think Travis was lying? Because I do. On the pod when he said that was my fault, me and Xavier ran into each other. I was at the wrong depth. My gut was if there was a mistake there, it was Xavier's, not Travis's, and he was being a good vet and a good teammate. Your take, having seen the play.
Yeah, no, he's not lying.
Oh, really?
He definitely ran the wrong depth of that route.
Okay.
They wanted to get the ball to Xavier Worthy. When you want to get the ball to that guy, he's the one that's going to go underneath to really rub shoulders. That didn't happen because Travis was a little too shallow on his and ran into him. But a thing about this game that will be interesting and I'll be looking for is what we did see in that Chargers game. We saw Patrick Mahomes, regardless if Xavier Worthy was out there, go down the field. And whether or not they complete those, I think is irrelevant. You have to force a team to at least play the deep ball. Because if they don't force them to play the deep ball, then all this Travis Kelce desire to have a big game is eliminated. Because they're going to shrink the field, they're going to play up, and they're not going to allow you to have that. But if you at least show them, we're going to still try to go deep with Thornton. We're going to try to go deep with Brou and give ourselves a chance for that big play that we were hoping to have all this season as far as the light show. Then you will soften up that defense.
Exactly.
Thank you, bro. More First Things First, live from the Power and Light Dish. I'll take that. Wilds tolerated. I'll take that. More First Things First after the break. Welcome back to First Things First, live from the Power and Light District in Kansas City. I'll be honest with you. I kind of love Kansas City.
Yeah,
it's the best.
Just fantastic.
Hold on. Look, I mean that's unfortunate.
That's objectively hilarious.
They turned my nose into a greater than sign. I mean,
it's my favorite sign here.
I mean, that one's pretty strong. Yeah, we see it, buddy. We understand.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to put it on TV. It's really good.
That was tricky. We've got 20 more minutes here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Patrick Mahomes literally never lost 3 games in a row in his career, and he's intent on avoiding it this weekend. Here's Patrick on learning from failure. Take a listen.
At the end of the day, you're going to have failures in this league. It's about how you respond from those failures, and that's something that's important in anyone's career. But for me, I got to continue to push to be even better so that I don't make those same mistakes whenever I get the opportunity to again.
So now we asked this earlier, too early actually, Brou. What would a Chiefs blowout over the Eagles mean to you?
I've said nothing to a few questions today where if the Chiefs start 0-2, doesn't matter. If Mahomes is outplayed by Hurts, doesn't matter. If the Chiefs blow out the Eagles, that would be a game changer. I mean, that would signify, obviously, that the Chiefs are still here, but not only still here, but going to get better. Because if they blow them out without Xavier Worthy, without Rashee Rice, then you know they're going to be better once they get those guys back. So a Chiefs blowout would send shockwaves throughout the rest of the league. I really believe that.
And that, to me, by the way, I agree with everything you're saying, Brou. I also, it speaks to what I think has been a poorly framed conversation in the media about this game. And I understand the Eagles did blow out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and that's the second most recent game that's been played. But there has been a lot of conversation about what if the Eagles dominate the Chiefs again. The idea of the Chiefs blowing out the Eagles, it's as if it was farcical. It's as if, and I
because
understand.
It is.
Why is it farcical?
That's the only result that I don't think is on the board. The Chiefs blowing out the Eagles. Hey, come on. What scenario exists without Rashee Rice, without Xavier Worthy, where the Chiefs have some sort of offensive explosion and simultaneously they shut down Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown? It's without the realm of, I mean, last year, if we're going to say double-digit victory, is a blowout.
Blowout is more than 14.
They had two last year.
We established that on for our show's purposes when we have these discussions. Blowout means more than 14. We all agreed on it.
So there were 2. And if you just did double-digit wins, it was 4. And it was not against impressive teams.
Right.
The double-digit wins were, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, then New Orleans, and then San Francisco early when they were dealing with all the injuries. I don't think there's a world, man, where the Chiefs blow out Philly when Philly is healthy and the Chiefs are not.
I tend to agree.
I'm glad. Go ahead, Greg. I'm glad to hear it. It's just again. Everyone, listen to what you're saying. It's an impossibility for the Kansas City Chiefs at home, motivated with a chip on their shoulder.
This week, yes. It is not on the table this week.
Not on the table.
It is not on the table this week.
Okay. All right. Again. Go ahead.
I love this, Wilds, because, this sounds like months back at the Super Bowl when we kind of heard grumblings of, is it possible for the Eagles to blow out the Chiefs? And all Nick said was, absolutely not.
Correct.
The Chiefs don't get blown out. There's no way they can get blown out. And now
I was wrong.
You were wrong.
Yeah.
And now that we've watched the Chiefs all last year, and they don't blow teams out. They just don't. They win at a higher clip than anyone else in our league, but they don't blow it. They don't blow teams out.
Again, they didn't blow teams out last year. They historically under Patrick Mahomes, I could be wrong. There's a few blowouts there. There's a few games that he plays a nearly perfect game and they put up points and the defense forces some turnovers, because the sneaky stat that Fox did a great job. And again, thank you to Fox for sending us here and for the pregame show for letting us use their set. But we got a thick stat package about just this game. And in there was something that I didn't know that was stunning to me. In this 17-game winning streak that Philly's on, I put quotes on it because we're throwing out the game they lost to Washington when Jalen got hurt. What do you think the turnover margin is in those 17 games? Philly has won the turnover battle in these 17 games. They are plus 30. They are plus 30 in the plus minus. So is there a scenario where there is a strip sack, where there is a pick, where Philly that has not had to play from behind at all for a year, that Philly has some, maybe bad luck early, and then all of a sudden it snowballs on them, and then it does become a Jalen Hurts drop-back passing game? Of course there's a scenario. Again, my pick is 27-24. I am not picking a blowout, but to act as if it's an impossibility is, like, how many games this weekend are we saying blowout is impossible? Browns blowing out the Ravens is impossible. This game isn't in that category.
Well, the reason why the turnover margin is that great for the Eagles is because prior to that number being what it was, Jalen Hurts was the driving force. And they were like, you know what? In order for us to actually thrive and be at our absolute best, we need you to take a step back in the passing game and just be whatever we need you to be. And since he's taken on that role and executed it better than any quarterback in the game right now, because his team is on top, they have been successful. Yes. So I don't see a scenario where all of a sudden Sunday he's going to throw 40 times and they're going to say, you know what, Saquon, take today off.
But they haven't been trailing. Again, they've been playing from their script the whole time. And I'm in a weird spot now because I'm arguing something that I'm not picking to happen.
You don't think is going to happen.
But to act as if it is an impossibility, I think is insulting.
I just think the any given Sunday thing you can say for any game. If weird things happen, if a ball bounces this way. But the Chiefs have been, when they've been winning, barely beating teams. And the Eagles have been bludgeoning them. Now, not against Dallas in week 1, but we just saw them run through the playoffs, the NFC playoffs and the Super Bowl. The Rams game was close, but the margin of victory for the Eagles...
The Packers and Rams games were close. They blew out the final 2 games. Yeah, because of the final 2 games. Like, the Packers game is a 5-point game in the fourth quarter. The Rams game, they're up by less than a touchdown with 10 seconds left, and they're on the 10-yard line. Like, they blew out Washington. They blew out Kansas City. And for a lot of people, that Kansas City game erased years of what the Chiefs have been. That's fine. But if I may just quickly, if this insane, impossible, farcical idea were to come to pass, what it would mean is it would say less about the Chiefs and more about the Eagles. Because if the Chiefs, without their two receivers, to your point, Brou, blow out the Eagles, it means that Eagles defense that looked vulnerable in week 1 is potentially a real problem.
It wasn't just a Jalen Carter absence issue.
Sure.
It'd be a real
Super Bowl hangover.
real issue.
Or they lost. Danny said it. How many did they lose? 4,000 snaps?
Yeah, they lost a lot of talent on defense. They could be worse.
First things first, overtime continues live from the Power and Light District. The Philly fans are starting to show up later in the day. Flights starting to land.
Way to ride
head
the
over
Eagles
to
crowd.
Brou is already making restaurant recommendations because we're in the wonderful Kansas City, one of the great food cities in the whole world.
Oh,
Look at that
One of the great
look at the mountain. Look at Brou's at the top of the mountain.
I love that mountain.
I gotta get a new headshot.
Awesome.
We are talking about Mahomes Mountain. Mahomes obviously is the mainstay atop Mahomes Mountain, but if Jalen Hurts defeats Patrick Mahomes for the 3rd straight time, ends up having a winning record 3-2 against Patrick Mahomes, are you willing to put Jalen Hurts atop Mahomes Mountain?
Well, it's not just Patrick standing between Jalen Hurts and the top of the mountain. And so I know we're supposed to debate, is the top of Mahomes Mountain on the line? But here's the thing. Mahomes Mountain ain't a committee and it ain't a democracy. It's my damn mountain, and I'm telling you right now, Jalen Hurts ain't gonna be on the top of it.
It's Mahomes Mountain.
And I'm telling you something else too.
It's Mahomes Mountain.
Oh, here we go.
This stage was defiled by Greg Jennings earlier. And we are not going to allow that as we leave Kansas City, Greg. It's not happening. And so Brou and Wilds and Danny, with respect, we're here for these people. And they have a pretty good idea who's going to win. So I'm going to let them take us out, as opposed to you four
Thank you to
dope.
everyone in Kansas City. America's Game of the Week on Fox, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock Kansas City time. Will be an excellent game. We put Nick in a great spot because none of us took the Chiefs.
The hometown.
Do you want to amend your pick?
No way. This is fun. This is cute. This is nice. I'm happy for the people of Kansas City to enjoy this moment.
Some of the best sports fans in the world.
It's all performative. It's all performative.
It's a great job. Your hometown showed out. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the game.